It's your boy Lex. I don't know what to think, but here we are in this ring. It seems so far from the truth, and I go hide in the booth. Can you feel the movement on spin? Can you see the curvature bend? Do you see when they spray the skies and they make up lies and do it again? Man, who's really in charge? How long has the lie been hidden? How long has time been broken? Cause every season is different. They tell you climate is changing. They say the global is warming. They think you'll need a vaccine, otherwise you'll die without warning. God put the stars, the sun, and the moon in the same sky. God put the devil on earth and let us reside at the same time. Maybe because angels betrayed God all over a slut lust. Then there was a reset, some of us call it a mud flood. Firmament permanently fixed to a plane, perfectly placed, impervious escape for the human race. This is God's work, so ask God first every day. And it's not curved, it is straight. It is not a planet, it's a plate. This the other side of Hell's Gate.
Fucking always love that.
Somebody's got to go back and get a shitload of dimes.
What's up, Templar?
What's up, homie?
How we doing?
We're doing good, man. I'm doing well. What about you, brother?
I hear your chair stopped by to say hello this evening too, huh?
Yeah. It felt lonely. It missed you guys last week.
Aw. Maybe perhaps my whiny ass dog will make an appearance as well. What up, Bill? He says, let's flock and go. What's up, Bill S. Preston? What up,
What's up, Bill? What's up, Peace?
What up, what up?
What up?
Dude, how are you, man?
I'm good. You want to hear something cool, actually? I didn't tell you beforehand, so it's...
Well, I haven't talked to you in fucking forever because you didn't show up last week. Fucking no call, right? No showed, you know? Yeah, I want to talk to you.
Sorry, dude. I just dipped you for a better podcast.
Oh, dude. You know what, dude? Hold on. Let's go to phoneboothpodcast.substack.com. Let's go check out all of the goodies on that page. It's so fresh and so clean and so smooth and so streamlined. Dude, there's tons of great content and no more filler on there. So as they say in the business, it's all killer and no filler nowadays. You got the Here's the Thing podcast, the Phone Booth podcast, of course, the Pick is In podcast, which is your number one place to get sports info these days. If you don't know, now you know. We got some live stream action. The Philosopher King, the Mind of Madness is in the house. Dude, most importantly, though, is the merch store. Go check out all of the merch available there. Tons of great shirts. Dude, most of them are $20. Some are 25. Dude, they're a nice like blend, not just cotton, so they're super soft. Dude, they got the mugs. The coffee always lays flat.
Dude, go up that top right sticker at the top that the government is flocking you.
Yeah, again, we're gonna get into some flocking tonight,
dude. And look at that, dude. It's not even an arm and a leg to get that, right? But it's a great sticker, dude. Your government is flocking you, like, just fucking brilliant, you know?
Right? That's clever artwork. Whoever designed that.
Yeah. My hat's off to this stuff, man.
Same guy did this bad boy right here. This ought to lose us a follower or two. Jesus loves you. No, not you. The guy behind you. So that's only $20. Gets you a pull today. Look up in the sky. That's not normal. That's another banger. Head on over there. Check it all out, dude. Tons of great merch. Dude. So much good stuff.
It's the right kind of cheeky, you know? It just fits. It's shit that you can wear.
Dude, these two are my favorite right here on the bottom, man.
Yeah. I like the one on the left, too. I love the Back to the Future motif you guys got going with the Pick is In. That's just classic.
Those are the best. And then after you get you a shirt, head on over to Can-Am Bullion. Let me update the prices so we got the most current. Look, it's in the dip again.
It's staying steady right there, just over 4,000. It's been that way for about, I don't know, 3-4 weeks. About 8 weeks back, it was at like 41 100, but it looks like it's leveled out at about just over 4 grand for the gold and
Let
right
me
around
put it in
60 for
perspective,
silver.
dude. Fucking 20 years ago, it was hovering around 300-400 an ounce.
I
Okay.
know, dude. Could you imagine if you fucking
And
bought in?
now it's at 4,000, that gold. But go check it out. Tell them the phone booth crew sent you. And if you have any questions, hit up Michael Piccioni. And if you want to consult with him on some bigger deals, not just a coin or two, hit him up and he will work with you and get
That's
y'all
right.
sorted out. And
That-
don't just add this shit to your cart and then sit on it, because the prices fluctuate and change. So look, it just went down a hundredth of a percentage right there while we were live.
and there's going to be, well, I'm not going to say there's going to be. I would imagine there's going to be big market moves in the metals as this war progresses because energy prices are about to just go crazy, you know. And the cool thing about Can-Am Bullion is, like I'm not a financial scholar, right? I'm a financial idiot, but you could actually,
Really?
like he said to Michael or some of his staff, and they'll walk you through what might be right for you. So that's your doctor about Can-Am Bullion.
Head on to Can-Am Bullion. Tom Fumble sent you. And let's get into the show tempo.
Yeah.
What's up, Ted Theodore Logan? Party on,
What's up?
dude. Shaka,
So,
bro.
so
Man.
before we go, I want to share something with you. I didn't tell you beforehand because I just figured it'd be nice for you to hear it.
Hit me with it.
Right?
Hit me with it. Hit me with it.
So, dude, so I had like
That
literally
chair's gonna kill me. That's
know.
worse than the fucking
Then
smoke
the fire
detector
alarm
chirp.
chirp.
Yeah, dude. Wow.
I'll get rid of it.
We're gonna have to clip that one out. That'll be known as the Templar chirp.
Right. So, like sometimes you have like a miracle that happens, right? And you recognize it and you're like, dude, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
No flocking
So
way.
I'm
Is
gonna
that what
fill you
said?
guys in on something, right? Yeah. So I didn't tell anyone, but dude, I was fucking financially screwed. I didn't know how I was gonna make my rent, like how I was gonna pay my car insurance, dude. And I've been sweating it like hard, right? It's a lot of stress because I got other stuff going on here at home. So financial stress was just like not something I wanted to deal with. But at the same point, it wasn't something I was going to be like telling people about, right? Like,
Sure.
so I didn't make any posts. I didn't talk about it. I didn't fill anyone in. Nothing like that. I just, like I felt too prideful to say anything, and I'm just carrying this stress, and I had no idea what, I was just kind of accepting whatever the fuck the fate was going to be. Like I don't know how I was going to pay my rent. Nothing. So yesterday I decided literally I was just gonna get on stream. I was gonna listen to like some music, and I was just gonna clear my mind and chill. Right? I just needed to just clear my mind, and so I'm listening to music and I'm vibing, and there's like a ding on my phone, like a text, and I look, and it was a Zelle, and
Okay.
then there's like
That's
another
a good ding.
and then I get a phone call. Dude, I'll black out like who and whatnot, dude. 2 Zells for 500 each came through my account on stream. Now, mind you, I during the stream, I'm not talking about this to anyone. I'm not soliciting. You know what I mean? I'm just listening to fucking music. This isn't even a subject. And this happens and this hits. And, it's like, which is what I needed to tie fucking everything together. And I haven't told anybody about this, dude. Like, God is the only fucking person that would know this. So, for my phone to ding and then to get 2 Zells from the same person at 500 and 500, and then a follow-up on the thing, dude, it was just like, I had to end the stream because I started, like, fucking getting emotional. I was like, how does this happen? Like, it
Ah.
just... So I wanted to point that out, like sometimes when you're not expecting it, when you have no insight on it, I don't know how it works, but moments like that happen, dude. And to me, that's just another example of, like God is real, like I don't know how that happened, like, and dude, like if you go, I kept the stream up and now that I've said this, if you go towards the end of the first stream, you'll understand, why it looks like I got fucking emotional and then like cut out and shit. But fucking dude, I don't know what to say, and I don't know how it came about, but I can't tell you how grateful, dude. Dude, I'm just speechless, dude. I don't know how it came about, but I can't express the gratitude enough.
That's pretty incredible, man. That those things happen, man. I've heard stories like this all the time of just, you can manifest things. A lot of people get caught up in things like The Secret, but there is a certain like formula that works. Like if you put enough positive out there and work towards that goal, it's bound to happen. Um, and so you've been putting enough good out there or something that it just
Yeah,
come
I
to
don't know
you.
what it is, man, but ain't no way. That's all. Just you know what I mean? That's all in my head. Ain't no fucking way, dude. Ain't
Uh,
no way. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. Like my friends didn't know. I didn't confide in my best friends. I was too ashamed. Why the
so
fuck would I tell my friends?
let me ask you this: like, did you say something on the stream about it?
No, no, no,
Okay,
no,
and then
no. The
okay, and
stream's
then
up
second, how did this person get your Zelle?
because it's connected through the phone number.
Oh, okay. So somebody you knew then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody
Okay,
who
all
knew,
right, all
but
right, all right.
and
Um,
and when I talked to him about it, like why and why that amount and all that, like even they didn't really have any answers, dude. And that's the thing, like that's also something that doesn't happen in my life, right? Nobody just fucking zells me something either. It I don't even know how to explain it. That's you know what I mean? And I spent last night, it kind of like played with my head because I was just trying to fucking like, like I didn't tell any of my friends. I sure the fuck wasn't gonna put it online. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
why
yeah,
would I
yeah.
want that shit out there?
Well, that's why I was confused because when you were tying in the stream to it, I was like, was it on the stream? Like, did he
Yeah,
say that?
no.
But
Yeah,
wow, I
not
mean,
on the
that's
stream.
oh, dude, that's wild. That's weird. That's weird, wild stuff, as they say, and that's amazing, dude. And I'm glad that you're able to take
Yeah,
care
I'm
of
grateful,
business
dude.
now, man. That's fucking
So grateful,
awesome.
dude. So
Um,
grateful.
yeah, it's just you just gotta put it out there and it will come. There's like I was saying, there is a formula to it, and you just have to break it down. It's not like you just say, "Oh, I wish the lawn would get mowed." You have to
Right,
take
right.
action. You have to take action too, to get towards that goal. So, but dude, man, we got some things to talk about today, man.
Yeah, we do.
You want to start with the flock stuff?
Block. Yeah.
All right, hang on. Let me pull that up then. Um, So, dude, this fucking story right here really chaps my fucking rear end, Templar. Let me tell you. Um,
Yeah, what do you got in store?
uh, so this is this one local? Yeah, this is here in Phoenix. So I'm gonna read this and then we'll watch the video. We've been talking about flocks already. Um, maybe on some previous episodes. I don't know if they talked about it or not on Saturday. I know they were going to. This was one of the things I sent Ted. I don't know if they got to it or not, but I wanted to bring it up today because I'd like to talk about it as well. And it takes place here in Phoenix. Let me pull it up. Boom. The city of Phoenix started a photo safety program. They set up speed cameras to take a photo if you go 11 miles per hour over the speed limits. A private company then comes to your door to serve you the ticket and get your signature dressed very similar to Amazon. The city outsourced the ticket program to a company called Vera Mobility. The private company handles basically everything. They installing and operating the cameras, processing of the images, they mail the notice. They then go out and serve people who don't respond to their ticket. The private company Vera Mobility gets a base fee of about $3,000 per camera per month plus $20 for every ticket that gets paid. This creates a clear incentive to pursue collection aggressively. This is insane. We now have private companies with access to all of our information, sending people out to actually serve and collect money.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild. Let's
Yeah,
watch.
I mean, you can't imagine how that could get abused anyway, right?
Yeah, and but see, they know they're fucking deceptive and not cool too because they're dressing up like Amazon people.
Yeah.
They know they thinking, oh, somebody's going to look at their Ring camera, which we'll get into after this little flock video here. But uh, oh, I'm getting a package. Let me go get the door. Boom, you're hit with a fine.
Hmm.
And like I think we played, I think, the video of that lady down south that got the ticket, and in another town or something. She wasn't even
Right.
there, and they said she stole a package or
Right.
something. And
Yep. And
like,
then
I
there was
mean,
another lady who spent time in fucking jail because the flock cameras got it wrong. They they tagged her uh, as somebody who, and the age difference was like 20, 30 different years different, but the cops just, they got the AI match, so they were just like, oh, okay, we don't have to think. The AI told us everything. Let's just go arrest them.
right. Well, you know what, man? As humans, I feel like we need to adapt and learn how to deal with AI, and know that AI is not fucking getting it right every time, and it's not perfect, and we need to know how to look for certain things that, like I've seen videos of they're trying to arrest the son and they're arresting the dad when clearly all they
Right,
had to do was just look up a few facts about the case and they would
right,
figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But cops aren't doing their due diligence.
right. They're skipping the whole investigation part, and that's kind of important because you're supposed to investigate to make sure that you have
Right.
probable cause and that you can support a conviction. And when the officers arrive on scene, technically they're supposed to be a neutral party, right? A neutral fact finding party. So most of them have policies. Well, they'll talk to the complainant, whoever made the phone call first or whatever. But technically, when they get on scene, if there's two people giving two different versions, right? Like they got to take both of them at their word. And the only thing that offsets that is a third party witness, right? And if there's two people who are saying two different things and there's no third party, and say one of them isn't marked, well, if it's a misdemeanor and it happened outside of the officer's presence, he has to then go and like get a warrant or something for the arrest, right? He's got to go talk to a DA and establish probable cause. Through my investigation, the plaintiff told me this and blah 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 blah, and then the DA says, "Yeah, charge that dude," or the DA says, "Sorry, there's not enough. It's a he said she said thing," But it's like they tend to shoot past any of that, and it's almost like they just want to have somebody in cuffs, like to go through. They just blow past everything. It's like, oh nah, we're just gonna go right away to let the judge figure it out.
Yeah. Well, it's like, dude, who's allowing these private companies to have this type of power? To serve somebody with a citation of some sort, because you if it's a traffic ticket, you're breaking a state or city municipal violation of some sort. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so they would have. How can a private organization take care of that? That doesn't make sense. That seems like conflict there.
Right. So, I mean, it could raise a lot of serious legal questions. Like, there's a guy who basically shut down, how, like, you could get the fucking little speeding camera tickets and shit, which is essentially what Flock is trying to do now, right?
Hmm.
So, usually, like, people, like, pay that shit, right? And they move on. Well, this guy challenged it, and he challenged it under the auspicions that it violated his due process because um, he doesn't get to address his accuser, right? And the judge bought it, and the case got dismissed, right? And now that has repercussions in that state. So maybe we just have to go through that here, and there's got to be some challenges. I think you make some good points. Like a municipality, right? They create their police department through incorporating it, and then they invest
Right.
powers in it, right?
Exactly.
So I would
It's
think they
essentially
would
a
have
business.
to do. Yeah, I would think they would essentially have to do the same, or there would have to be some kind of deputization process to give some kind of authority to that agency. But then, then you start getting into this whole fucking RoboCop concept of private corporations
Yeah.
policing, and now we go full circle, right? Because police started off as private security in Boston. It was the merchants police. And then that got offset onto the population, and then police just became a thing, right? That's how it started. So we're going in like this circle, except eventually, it's going to be like, well, like your town can't pay for a police department. So, like Amazon's going to be nice, and they're going to step in with their friendly police patrols and shit. And they're not going to give a fuck about your rights. You know what I mean? And they're going to be all tricked out in the latest fucking armor and shit, and it's just going to escalate. And I think stuff like this is the introduction to that, right? Like we're seeing that start to take place with stuff like that, dude. It should raise alarms for sure.
Yeah, if you're not alarmed by this, there's something wrong with you. Like there's some people, those people that sit back and say, "Oh, well, I don't commit crimes. I don't have anything to worry about." Well, listen, it's just the let's say you let somebody borrow your car, like, and this is how they fought it in Arizona for the longest time, is because they've had traffic cameras forever out here, and they made them illegal because like people were getting tickets that weren't responsible for what was being done. Like if somebody ran a red light or was speeding or whatever, and it was somebody else driving the car,
Right.
then that person needed to be ticketed, and so the tickets were being sent to the wrong place. Plus, the mail you can always deny, like, oh, I never received it in the mail, unless it's
Right.
signed for or whatever. So it was proven to be not a legal way to go about serving these kind of tickets and stuff. And what's scarier is Flock does even more than just these traffic tickets, with the reading of your Bluetooth and everything else that it's doing. It's terrifying.
Well,
Terrifying
I
shit.
I imagine when they sat down and did the budget, right? Like when they were talking to Flock or this company and going over basically the numbers, right? If they're saying it's gonna, they're gonna charge them $3,000 a camera, plus they're gonna get $20 or whatever, 20% or whatever it is, off of every ticket, right? So they're like they sell them on the upfront cost of all those cameras. So let's say I don't know 10, right? Probably significantly more, but let's say it's 10. That's 30 G's right there, right? And just cameras. And then how many times a day are they going to catch a person going 11 miles or more over, issue a citation, times $20 on all that. So somebody did that math and they just thought, yeah, like we'll take their tax dollars and we'll use it to incorporate a system so we can just beat them over the head and bleed more penalties out of them. I mean, it's brilliant. It's like medieval times. It's wonderful
Why does everybody want our money, Templar?
because they ain't got none. Neither do I. They still ain't. They're still trying.
Dude, let's oh
You know,
man, that share, dude. Let's watch this video real quick, and then we got some more to talk about this nonsense.
Yeah.
Photo radar machines like the one right behind me in an effort to crack down on speeding. But the city actually isn't in the business of collecting the money from those tickets. Instead, it hired a third-party contractor. And just recently, this is what happened to a woman who went a little too fast down Camelback.
What the person showing up at my door looks like, okay? Literally like an Amazon worker. And they were saying over the camera, they were like, we are requesting a signature for my name. So much so, my roommate texted me and she goes, an Amazon guy is at the door, waiting for your signature. I wasn't home, neither of us were home, obviously, so nobody answered. So then I go over the Ring camera and I'm like, hello? Like, I'm not home. Like, can I give you a signature over the camera? And he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm actually with the city of Phoenix. We're just making sure that you received our ticket, and you need to go, like, pay them. Coming to my door is crazy. Coming to my place of residence is crazy, you guys. Well,
so Phoenix started this program called the Photo Safety Program. They set up 17 cameras and they target people going 11 miles or more over the speeding limit. But take a look at this. The city actually has a private company handling nearly everything. So the company goes out and installs the camera, they operate the cameras, they process the images, they mail the notices, and they process serving people who don't respond. So if you don't respond to your ticket that they send you, they will send somebody who looks like an Amazon driver to your door to make you sign a paper that you're going to pay your speeding ticket. So they get a base fee of about $3,000 per camera per month, and then they get a commission of $20 for every ticket that gets paid. So that means that these people are going to be aggressively at your door making sure that you pay your ticket so that they can keep their contract of $3,000 per month per camera, and then they get $20 for every time that you pay a ticket. I mean, this is wild because now you have a private company that has access to your car information, your personal information. They're sending people to your door who may or may not be criminals. I mean, this is just insane.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how that works out for him. Because I'm watching that, and the first thing that's going through my head is the colonial tax man, right? And we all know how that worked out. And all I can imagine is some dude like that showing up in the hood, trying to fucking knock on somebody's door to bother them about a fucking ticket, catching them at the wrong moment, you know? Like, I don't see this working out necessarily the way that it's designed, you know?
Right.
I see some potential flashback on them, but outside of that, I mean, it's fucking horrible if that doesn't say that your municipalities, that your towns, that your cities don't see you for anything more than a monetary source. I don't know what does. You know, like now they're actively looking for ways. So that's $3,000 a camera per month. So if they only have 10 cameras, right, that's $30,000 a month that they're paying just to have the cameras. So that means they got to make at least $30,000 a month in tickets just to break even and offset that cost. But we know they got to do more than that because otherwise, right, that doesn't make any money for them. So outside of that, dude, like, I mean, yeah, this is the reason we don't have police quotas, and we're kind of shoehorning a back way to this. I don't see this working out good for anybody. I don't see people accepting it. I don't see it working out well for people showing up to fucking people's doors, you know, being like, pay me my monies, because someone's gonna get their ass whooped. That's I'm predicting it now.
Well, yeah, because I mean, sure, now it's just, they're citing people, like they said, for 11 miles per hour over the speed limit. What's next? Are they going to cite people for, other traffic violations as well? The registration is expired. The smog certificate is not current. Other little things like that. Where do they draw the line? Can they give someone a DUI through a camera, or some
Right.
kind of driving erratically or something, you know what I mean, to that effect, that says there's something else going on there, some kind of upcharge, like, I mean, where does it end?
You know, another thing that I would wonder about would be like the legality. So, like, let's say you challenge the ticket, right? Like, if a cop catches you speeding, right? You can challenge certain things on that, right? You can challenge, say, the aspect of when was the last time that the radar gun or the laser gun was calibrated or maintained or inspected, right? So, and there's different avenues that you can approach, even things like that. So, I mean, I would imagine that would also have to extend to this contraption, right? So that means they're going to have to show a certain amount of maintenance and making sure everything's up to specs? Or are they going to loosen that so it makes it easier to get the tickets out? Because this just seems to be a big money making opportunity for people right now, dude.
Mm.
Like, yeah,
Do
I
you
don't see the whole thing being good.
do you think that they're just designing shit like this just to drive us crazy, to force us into things like giving up driving? Because that's where we're heading. People aren't going to be driving anymore. You know, like uh it's funny. I was in an Uber the other day, and I was talking to this guy, and we were talking about banking. Um, and I guess he knew somebody up with Chase and J.P. Morgan, and he's saying in 5 to 6 years they're shutting down all human banks. There's not going to be any humans in the banks anymore. It's going to be all AI and automated every bank that you go to.
I believe it.
Um, and like with cars, it's going to be very similar, where nobody's going to be driving again. We're all going to be connected into this fucking system, like in Minority Report and this shit, dude. And like nothing good can come from it, man. Like I don't want to be a part of that shit.
Yeah.
But
No,
how do we?
I
There's no like avoiding it. Like sure, like yeah, people are saying go around and knock these flock cameras down and whatnot. Well, okay, there's a crime there, so don't do that, people. But
right.
is that the answer? I mean, just fighting against them? Is that how we do it? I mean, it doesn't seem like that shit ever goes anywhere, and it's like this wave that can't be stopped. Because I think Ted's right. I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast that, yeah, okay, so maybe you stop Flock from progressing, but there's just going to be another company that comes in bigger and badder that dominates the market. And
Right. And James
it's
Lee has
over.
actually exposed some of that, right? So what's happening in the Flock situation is Flock has gotten a lot of pushback, right, from the public and on the news, right? So what's happening is cities are starting to cancel. Is everything good, buddy?
Yeah, Mom told you the time for the Bucket Bash. Apparently, it went from 4:30.
All right, sorry about that. So what's happening is cities are canceling their contracts with Flock, right? And in the background, since all these cities already use like Axios and stuff for their body cams, etc., everything's just getting transferred. They're doing the same shit, but they're just transferring it over to Axios. And I guess in the overall parent ownership of the companies, right? Like the same guy who is the same corporation sitting over the head, same board essentially. So they're kind of, I guess, semi-related, right? So it's almost like one's laying the foundation for the other. They're working in unison. So people think they're going to escape Flock, but they're just going to get put into a centralized Axios system. So they're making it hard to push back on there. People think, oh, we're going to get a win here, but there's no win. They're just transferring it over and continuing on.
Oh man. I want to play this video here, Templar. This was we did this on a previous stream back in probably February, because I believe this was a commercial during the Super Bowl. Let me play this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is the Ring commercial.
Oh, pets are family. But every year, 10 million go missing. And the way we look for them hasn't changed in years. Until now. One post of a dog's photo in the Ring app starts outdoor cameras looking for a match. Search Party from Ring uses AI to help families find lost dogs. Since launch, more than a dog a day has been reunited with their family. Be a hero in your neighborhood with Search Party. Available to everyone for free right now. Join the neighborhood at ring.com.
I can't live. I can't believe they used that song.
Oh man, I know, shit. I probably should have muted it. So, dude, if you remember, we were talking about, when we talked about this Ring stuff, we talked about the what is it? The is it an Amazon thing? That's like
Yeah,
the
Amazon sidewalk where everything connects and it becomes one giant mesh.
right. So, do you remember, like, probably, shit, maybe 20 years ago, you could, there were websites, I think, at the time, and you could upload a picture to it, and, like, if people had a picture from that same area, like, it would connect it and make, like, a giant 3D picture of it. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's what we're doing now with these video cameras everywhere. And it's just gonna be we're gonna be living in Grand Theft Auto here pretty fucking soon, it seems like. I mean,
It's a great analogy.
yeah, right? Because like it's just gonna be a video of everywhere, and everybody's gonna be on the fucking screen as a fucking character, and you know, non-playable characters are out there too. Like, man, we're turning into we're blending right in with technology, all right.
You know what's interesting? That commercial that you just played, when like they played that at the Super Bowl, and they thought like that was a good idea, right? They thought people
Right.
are gonna be like, "Yeah, fucking for our dogs, yeah, for the pets, yay!" And people were like, "No, if you could fucking follow my dog around the neighborhood, of course you can do that to me, right?" So that kind of tilt the hand a little early, but I mean, I don't know. I guess what we need, what would help, is if some of these like legal companies, or if somebody really rich who could afford the lawsuit took up the cause. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. These things cost money to fight the legal battles, and you need somebody who has the pocketbook, or you need a organization or whatever to step in and help bankroll that. That's usually how these things go. But imagine that, like, nobody ever comes out for the stuff like this for the little guy, and why would they, right? Because it works out so much better for them.
Yeah. Man.
It's unfortunate, but that's where we are, man. They threw us overboard, and they're not looking back.
Do you think even if you escape out to like nature and like get out into like the woods and like in the mountains, like you can escape all of this madness, or is it going to hit
Nope.
there too? It's
It's
coming,
gonna hit
right?
there too.
I mean,
So
because they
think
already
about
have
this.
they already have Google Street Views and shit of every fucking road
So you
everywhere.
got that. They already started vaccinating like the deer and shit like that. So God
Yeah.
knows if that's even like edible, right? Unleashing fucking super ticks out in the fucking woods and shit. So that way, these things are just gonna be fucking giving you Lyme disease and looking like big fucking tumors and shit. But my answer is no, because when they throw the cage down on us, right? You're gonna
Well,
have like
isn't the firmament the
hardcore.
cage?
Well, that's, would be like God's cage, right? But they're trying to build, like a surveillance cage, right? And I would imagine that they're going to have military drones that are going to be flying over stuff, because they're going to expect people to flee, like that's the most common area. But, these drones, they'll have, infrared, thermal imaging. They can hear the most minute sounds. You know what I mean? They can see the most minute movement. And those
Yeah.
things are going to go on fucking patrols and shit, and it's not going to be hard, because first they can go up, they'll put on like thermal imaging or infrared imaging, so they'll see below the canopy, right? Even if you dig a fucking hole in the ground, they're going to see the disturbance in the dirt and the vast, and they'll just come. So yeah, there's no escape unless you go like inside caves or fucking under the sea. Those are your only, you got to go underground or underwater. That's going to be the only place to hide. So like basically what the Hopi and all that did way back in the day. We need to figure out where in the four corners are the entrance to the earth, so we can fucking make our escape. Because in the end times, according to the Hopis, uh, you know, the the people unite at the four corners, right? And that's what happens at the fifth turning, the fourth turning, wherever we are.
So is the four corners where the four states meet? Arizona, New
Correct.
Mexico.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the area, and it's that area that the Hopi say that, originally that we all came up from the ground there, like that the opening of where we all came from originally, was there, and then they got stories about like fucking ant people and stuff. I mean, when you look into it, like it is interesting, and it wouldn't surprise me. And it just so happens like it's the same area near the Grand Canyon shit where everything's on like lockdown. You can't go to a lot of places.
Right. Yeah. No. Totally. Like, I was just thinking I was gonna ask, anybody in the phone booth if they wanted to do some like an episode about the Grand Canyon sometime because it's some fascinating shit there. But so,
Yeah.
are you saying that there's going to be like a mass immigration of people to the Four Corners at the end times?
Well, according to like the Hopis, and there's a few different. I can't remember one of the other tribes over there, but that's their belief, right? And they believe that the man in red comes, and then it depends on if he comes from uh the west, then everything goes a certain way. But then there's like one thing that can happen where like the evil will win, and just take everything over. But and it's been a while since I went through it, so I don't want to butcher it. But yes, they believe that basically like the stand, right? Like the last of the remaining people.
So
Hold on
it'll
one
be
second. Sorry.
Yeah, folks. So this is pretty fascinating stuff here about the Hopis and their beliefs on how people came out of the Grand Canyon, which is the Four Corners. I don't know if the Grand Canyon and the Four Corners touch, but I know that they're right next to one another. But pretty interesting stuff there. And I wonder if the migration stuff is similar to what's happening in Ceuta, Spain. They're having a mass influx of people in Spain. Seems like maybe a good time to shift topics to one of the next things that's in our title. Tell us what's going on in Spain, man.
So Spain just got a Zerg rush. I think next door to it is like Morocco or whatever, and
Yeah.
they they just took in a bunch of people, and then they took them in like vehicles, and they just brought them to the border of Spain. It was like, have at it, boys. And then you just see a Zerg rush, right? Spain just gets invaded. They're just getting massive amounts of people that are coming in, and obviously these people don't have anywhere to go. There's no structure. There's nowhere for them to live, sleep. There's no jobs for them to take, and it just becomes this like mass rioting, looting, fucking hectic shit, right? And this is, interestingly enough, the same thing that's happened all throughout history. We're just watching it in real time, dude. But yeah, like they got the Zerg rush. This is crazy to like to see it in action, and this is a warning shot to all of the other developed nations on how this works, right? Like basically play ball or this will happen to you, right? And once they're inside your borders, that's a whole different thing, right? Because once they're there, you can have, fucking, uh, foreign agents or whatever supplying them and arming them with weapons or whatever, right? Organizing bad shit. So, it only gets worse from there.
So are they all coming from Morocco or?
Yeah, literally like right through. Dude, I only sent you so many videos, but like this afternoon I saw one where like the military, because the military's taking them out in, those tarp trucks and shit, and like people just don't care. These motherfuckers are jumping out of the military truck. Like that it's pandemonium. They're outnumbered. There was like an influx anywhere between 45,000 and 60,000 people that just swarmed in.
Yeah, I want to show
mean,
some of
those
these videos here, man, because this shit's crazy that you sent me. So let me pull them up here. Um, we have the invasion of Spain is unfolding right before our eyes. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's government policies are actively encouraging passive waves of migration from Africa into Spain. The Spanish territory of Ceuta, an enclave bordering Morocco near the Strait of Gibraltar, is completely overwhelmed. Migrants are flooding the borders and taking boats straight to the mainland. The governor of Ceuta has begged for the national government to declare a state of emergency due to the surging numbers they are seeing, around 300 new arrivals every single day. To put that in perspective, that is a pace of over 100,000 migrants a year pouring through just one single access point.
Increíble la situación. Increíble la situación ahora mismo, señores.
So I have questions. That's not real.
That is real. That's very real.
That's way more than 300 people. They said 300
Yeah.
new arrivals every single day. That's way more than
Right.
300 people.
Yeah, dude, when this first happened, I have pictures on X and shit. Because my favorite thing to do is when something's breaking, is I love to take pictures of the proposed community notes and all that shit, and then sit on them to see what's going on. The first thing that they started trying to do is minimize this. So at first, they started tagging shit with notes, because people were saying, hey, this is like 40. And they're like, no, dude, it's like 1,500 people, 2,000, right? And then they tried to gaslight people and say that by the time the nighttime had came, that everybody just went home. That all the invaders, they were like, all right, guys, that was fun, bye, and that they just left, which they didn't, right? I mean, I sent you videos of it going on into the fucking night, right? Like, they were getting inundated, and here's the fucked up thing, dude, right? Spain's government, it appears, certain members of Spain's government appear to be in on the whole fucking thing too.
Yeah,
So
well, we've got another video right
Yeah.
here. Tipper. Let's watch this one real quick.
The Panamanian Thruway. Now what'll that asshole think of next? Has anybody got a dime? I don't know, Jay. Somebody's got to go back and get a shitload of dimes.
So taxes may be the answer to stop this migration. If they just put up tollways, they can hit these migrants and stop.
Right?
it.
And make
This
a
is just a
fortune.
bad movie. This is not real, man. That's not happening. Is it really?
Dude, Spain's cooked. That's a warning shot to everybody, though, dude. Look how many people, dude. And the way the next morning, the media was trying to be like, yeah, it's all over. Everything's good. Except here we are, like 2 days later, and we still have footage coming in of fucking shit right now. The military still doesn't have shit under control there. You know what I mean? But the media, and that's another thing. I've taken pictures and shit, like daily. The next morning, the media was like, yeah, like they're minimizing it because they don't want countries and people to see like how out of hand this shit has gotten. Because a reasonable person sees that footage and says, holy fuck, what is that, dude? Like, that's not natural. That's scary. I don't want any part of that. You know what I mean? That offsets people.
Yeah.
So they're trying to minimize it. Like, oh, no, this is being... No, dude, what you're seeing is legit, dude. Go, search it. We're lucky in some ways for places like X for that, but...
Yeah. Dude, I want to play this other video. This is another angle of, I think, some of the same stuff that we were just seeing, but check this out. This is wild. Is there any audio?
Don't worry, though. It's just a couple people.
Well, you describe this video. I have to go pee while this video plays. You describe it
Yeah,
to the people.
no problem. So if you ever saw World War Z and you see all the zombies running towards the wall and climbing up, that's what you see. What you can see is the big gate that goes around from next door between Spain and Morocco, right? These people are just basically going out into the water around it and coming through. And this camera is showing you the whole curve of the beach on the other side. these people were told that they were given directions from the media over on that side that Spain was welcoming them with open arms. So that's why you see all these people migrating to that location to do it, like, because they're getting transportation all the way there. This was an organized event with NGOs. This is warfare. It's asymmetrical warfare.
Yeah, and where have we seen that playbook before?
Well, you know what else is interesting is when you look at that video, it's what you don't see. You're men. I'm watching tons of men, young men go by. You rarely see a woman, right? You rarely see a woman. Network of families coming for a better thing, right? You're bringing a bunch of men in, and what's that going to do? An influx like that, right? Like you're throwing off the whole system in there. Spain can't take an influx. No, you know what I mean? Like, dude,
Right.
it's too
Not
much
like
of an
that.
influx at one. Yeah, and let alone. So then after that, what's going to happen to those people when they get there and there's nothing available for them, right? There's no job, there's no food, there's no girlfriend. You know what I mean? That's going to breed frustration, right? That's going to breed contempt. That is going to breed animosity, and that's what they want, because then they're going to use that against the population of the people, right? Oh, look at this, dude. You're coming over looking for something good, and these people are, oppressing you. They're not in corporate. Fuck it, dude. You guys got the numbers. Just flip the table and take them over. You know what I mean? Like, so keep an eye on Spain, dude. Unless their military gets out and like really starts doing something, but I don't think Spain has the ability right now to deal with what they got going on, dude. Like,
That's kind of where I was thinking earlier. Like, I mentioned kind of to my roommate earlier, like what we were going to talk about today, the Spain stuff, and I was thinking Spain has like financial issues and probably some military issues as well. They can't handle this shit right now. Like, you know, um, and like you said, it's very well organized, and it's like the same playbook that we saw the influx into America a few years back.
Yep.
Um, you know,
which, by the way, the GOP has taken the opportunity, right? Mike Johnson came out over the weekend and basically said to America, right? Like, hey, if you vote for Democrats, this is what's going to happen to the nation, right? So they're using this already to try to scare the shit out of Americans and be like, yeah, the Zergs are just gonna, show up here. One more
well,
interesting point
but
is that Netanyahu's son in 2019 on Twitter um, threatened to do just this to Spain, right? And now
really,
this is in action. Yeah, mind you, Spain just last month, we were having a problem because they weren't letting us use their military bases. Spain wanted to stay neutral in this shit that's going on with Iran, right? They wanted to stay out of it. So now they're being punished, right? That's really what's happening. They're being punished and they're getting pushed, they're getting overwhelmed, and they're going to be forced into compliance.
that's wild that Baby BB said that. And Baby
Yeah.
BB lives down in Miami.
Does he?
Yes, he's got a big penthouse skyrise down there in Miami. And he just man, I think it was like within the last year or two, he was filing to become an American citizen so he can stay here. Baby BB.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Spain, but we're gonna see more of this. And when you go through history, like this happens to all the countries, all the major shit. All even in the colonies, they were trying to do this originally. The British tried to do this to the colonists, right? Like, so I mean, it's standard practice. You just bring in other people and you use that to offset your war. Just like when the French were using the Indians to help fight the British.
Yeah.
Like this. But anyways, yeah, dude, it's bad, dude. They're letting us know, it's checkmate.
Dude, well, look at this video that you sent to me. It's already getting very chaotic over
Yeah.
there.
Well,
Iran.
this is just one of the tame ones.
Oh, okay. Moroccan criminals storm homes, loot and light cars on fire in Melilla and Ceuta, Spain.
إذن كما كتشاهدوا معنا مازال مواجهة بين الشباب وعناصر الأمنية هنا في المعبر الحدودي ديال بلينصا.
That car's like, fuck you, get out of my way.
أوي 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 يا ربي السلامة يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي السلامة يا ربي.
So imagine one morning you're having breakfast, and next thing you know, your country's being invaded, and come nightfall, everything's being burnt down. After the
هنا في
day
المعبر
of people just
الحدودي ديال
wrecking shit.
بلينصا. أوي 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 يا ربي السلامة يا ربي يا ربي.
I can only imagine how demoralizing
I mean,
that
you
must
know,
be.
this is fresh off of the World Cup loss. You know, I mean, tensions are high.
I mean, it's definitely demoralizing to a people, right? It shows how unstable. I mean, yeah, it's asymmetrical warfare, dude. And it's a warning to everybody else who's not playing ball.
It's a-hole warfare.
And on top of that, dude, did you see the thing, by the way? They're like, oh, we gotta, was it Gates or whoever? And they're all like, oh, we need to get the world population down to 4 billion. That was the new thing that they released. So part of me thinks like that's why they're taking all these migrants and they're flooding Europe and the United States. Because I think they know like something's going to happen to the land, or they expect some kind of fucking nuclear shit to go on. And they're just putting people in groups, so it just makes the calling that much easier.
The culling of the herd. That's exactly what they're doing, right? The culling of the herd. Do you think Soros is behind it?
I don't know. Probably much of the same people who were behind Soros or whatever. You know what I mean? Because I think it's an agenda that all kind of works together. So, but yeah, the same type of people. It's the same concept. It's for the same purposes. But yeah, basically. You know, this is the same kind of stuff that the money from USAID was being used
Right.
across the world. So, you know, somebody funded this as well. I'm not sure with what money and who, but yeah, somebody absolutely funded
Well,
because migrants don't get from their country to wherever and then through it, you know, like all that costs money.
Let's watch this video real quick, and then I want to talk to you about that USAID. Remind me of the USAID after this. So, I mean, that's just one little town in Spain. Bill says all over some soccer. You know what's funny to me is I said that as a joke just a second ago, but watching that video right there reminds me of those movies like the Football Factory and some of those other like English movies where they like follow the soccer teams and they run through the streets going crazy like that. That's kind of what it looks like. But the US aid thing, do you like is that what got the Democrats such in debt right now? Because they're like in debt. They're struggling to make money right now.
Yeah, well,
Is it
because
because
that
of the
was the
scam?
slush fund.
Right,
Yeah,
the $1 billion they fucking spent on Miss Harris.
yeah, it's absolutely that was the slush fund, and not just for Democrats, but you know they used a lot. But yeah, that was the slush fund money to do all this shit. And the thing is, you know, like that money's now not going there. But I'm sure, you know, this administration's plugging it in, you know, somewhere. I'm sure some of that money might have even made its way to help, you know, shit in Spain, you know. Like, and we'll see more of it.
It's the Democrats, bro. The Democrats. Bill's bi. He thinks it's a two-party system. Gay.
Yeah, that's also why you're not seeing these protests spring up where all of a sudden everybody has matching shirts and signs and messaging and shit 24, 48 hours after an issue occurs, right? Like you're not seeing this as much because again, all that stuff takes planning. Somebody's got to make the signs, somebody's got to make the banners, somebody's got to get all those people organized and together. You know what I mean? Grassrooting that shit isn't easy overall, so that's why they have those paid protesters and they have the networks of the people to reach out to and they have their buses grab them and bus them in. Like there's they got it down to a science.
Yeah, they certainly do. Um, and and they start the process long before just sending these people into Spain. They make the situation so bad in that area beforehand, so it makes the people want to leave. It makes them believe that they're going to get some kind of deal when they get to Spain or something. But they're being sold a bill of goods too.
Yep.
They're being taken advantage of. They're being used. These immigrants. They don't
Yep.
even
Yeah.
know it, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing is it's almost hard to blame them, right? Because I'll be honest, right? If I lived in a third world shit country, right, and I didn't really have any rights and I was fucking starving and there's no way to have a life for me or my family, right? Like I'm gonna be trying to go to America or a place where I can have a better life, right? Now, if you see on the news and your media and there's all these NGOs telling you, hey, make your way to this country, make your way to that country. You're gonna get this, you're gonna get that. It's like fuck, yeah, why not? Let's pack up the kids. I don't got shit going on here. That actually sounds like I'll have a chance, right? So I don't blame them for that. It's human nature, like it's like you're saying, they're being used as pawns, like which is all the more fucking heartbreaking. Instead of like building up their culture and their communities and stuff, this money is being used to tear everything else down because that's how you win.
Yeah. Am I crazy for believing that there's more than enough that comes from the earth and enough to go around for everyone to be comfortable? And I know that's kind of a socialist kind of thing to say, but like, I think that, it is like one big fish tank and the fish tank takes care of itself. There's, we it builds one another, it feeds one another. There's enough for everyone to survive. So when people like Billy Gates come out and say um, that we need to reduce the population, that's just a crock of shit. We don't need to do that.
No,
You know
I
what I
I
mean?
agree with you. It's all a part of the subtle manipulation, right? So, give you an example, not to take this into a flat Earth tirade, right? But to give an example,
Oh fuck! Here we go with the
I know,
fucking
here we
flat
go.
Earth. Another fucking
So,
episode.
so part of the reason, right? Like, if you believe in flat Earth, that like they tell you about the globe is to kind of disconnect you and fuck you up on where you actually are, what you're actually dealing with, right? But if you take that to another step, right, then you realize and you start looking, say, at the comparison of, say, North America to Europe, right? You can see that you can basically fit all of Europe right there on North America, right? And you can see like Spain is roughly the size of California. It's just laid out a little bit differently. However, it has a population of like 46 million people stuffed in, something the size of California. However, that's still more than enough land for 46 million people to maneuver and survive comfortably and have plenty of space, right?
Sure.
But you can't secure people and you can't control people unless you have scarcity, right? But anyways, to keep
Sure,
going
sure
on
you
to the
can,
point,
Temple. You just need to add more flock cameras.
but my main point being is that they manipulate our perception of even the size of countries, right?
Sure.
Like Germany is basically, maybe like the size of fucking Montana, California. You know what I mean? Like, and they have similar size. We think of these countries like they're these big fucking things. No, they're the size of fucking states. They just got a lot of people in it. But at the same point, you got all your fucking people stuffed in over there, and you're doing all this wild shit, and you're complaining about like our fucking cows or whatever. Like, dude, like sit the fuck down. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a true 1-to-1 ratio. You know what I mean? Like, that's why Europe needs us, because we have 300 and something million people together. The closest adversary that's structured like that is Russia, and they're relatively the same in comparison with population numbers under a centralized government. Just like the U.S. So
did you hear? I think it was last week. I think it was the new Prime Minister of Canada. I forget his name, but he like threatened the U.S. like saying
Carney.
that. Like, with what military does he think he can threaten the U.S. with? Like, what?
Canadians got to learn. So back, I think it was like in 1812, we had a little war with them, a little fight with them, and they came and they burnt down our White House, right? So they kind of got a chip on their shoulder because they did that. Nobody else has been able to do that. However, a lot has changed since 1812. So I don't think they would make it through to burn down the White House. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're too soft. That's the other thing.
These maple sucking snow monkeys.
Yeah, and I don't think normal Canadians dislike Americans enough to want to go to war to them either. It's just fucking Carney's an idiot.
Hey, what's the Alex Jones video that you sent me?
Was that like over a week ago or something?
No. Sends Roger Stone a message.
Oh, yeah. I think that was just more personal. That was like fucking Alex Jones doing. Yeah, that's nothing.
Okay.
Huge significance. Right. That's just fucking Alex Jones being the chameleon. You know what I mean? Like when he gets too much pushback on something and the dam's got to break, then he kind of slips into his new skin suit, and then it's like, I've held this belief forever, and it's more of that. Like now he's completely anti-Trump, and now he's going in on Alex Jones, and he's gonna take this movement. Like, that guy is not the kind of person to listen to if you're serious.
All right. Well, should we get into freaking the doctor? Let me ask you a question. What doctor do you trust more, Dr. Fauci or Dr. Cosby? Go.
You know what? I probably would trust Dr. Cosby because at least I have an idea of where that's gonna go. With Fauci, I'm just fucked.
All right. How about Dr. Seuss?
Yeah, well, I prefer Dr. Seuss out of all of them, right?
Right? It's what a terrible fucked up time we're living in when the most trusted doctor is Dr. fucking Seuss.
and the bastardization of the healthcare system, right? Because doctors are supposed to be pillars of health and healing. You know what I mean? Like, they're supposed to be symbolically good. They're supposed to help you. They're not supposed to poison you and kill you and then plead the fifth.
Oh man. So more is going on with Fauci. I know they talked about it on Saturday night, so I don't want to talk about the same stuff they did. But I'm pretty sure this came out since Saturday that 3 states have now signed on to investigate Fauci, being Florida, Louisiana, and Alabama. So all 3 states are now pursuing charges and investigating Dr. Fauci.
Which is good because the federal immunity, right, that he got for his pardons will not cover those, like state actions, especially if the state actions tie him to something like homicide, which has no statute of limitation, which is a lot of, what Fauci's been dancing around. Like, that's what we need. A state needs, until a state steps up and says, hey, motherfucker, you killed a lot of people and we're coming at you for that, you can't take anything serious. But if you see that happen, then you can see at least they're going to take the guy down. But we'll see if that happens.
Yeah. So let's. I got this little news clip right here talking about it.
And they've now announced investigations into Dr. Fauci. Former President Joe Biden granted Fauci that pardon before he left the White House, but it didn't protect him from this. Here's Governor Ron DeSantis.
This is a guy that was drinking his own Kool-Aid. He was venerated by the media. I think he liked the fact that he had a lot of this informal power when he was issuing these recommendations and telling governors and mayors to do some of the draconian things that were actually done. It had a really negative effect on a lot of societies throughout this country. You had businesses reeling, people's liberties curtailed, and kids left on the sideline unable to access education.
Part, and they've now announced investigations into Dr.
I mean, that's absolutely right. You know, they've fucked up lives with this whole thing, especially, you know, when you get into things like what was said in his diary. And he said himself, he said that, you know, they were telling people that there was a 2 to 3% fatality rate or whatever with this cold. And he said in his diary that in all actuality, it was 0.2, which people were saying at the time. I was one of them saying it's 0.3%. Like, it's such a small percentage. It's the same as the flu, maybe a little bit worse than the flu. I was saying stuff at that time. I got ridiculed.
Reddit would ban you for fucking saying that and calling out the numbers. And then that's when they stopped tracking the data, right? And then you can't argue with data we don't track anymore. Oh, we don't keep that. We're not, or we're going to transition. So they started fucking with the numbers because people were watching.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's really fucked up. And I'm glad that, you know, we have measures in practice like this, that the states can still pursue him. And, you know, that's how our government is supposed to be designed, these checks and balances, you know, at the simplest form. That's what it's supposed to be. You know, that way you don't have too much power. You know, we're not supposed to have all a million laws about everything. You know, the speeding tickets shouldn't be a fucking thing, you know? Driving like an asshole should, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
It's just, it's wild. Blue says Dr. Nick from The Simpsons. God damn, I need
Hi,
to watch more
Nick.
Simpsons.
Hey, everybody.
Dude, here's another video I want to play for the people out there in social media land. This is from Bernie Moreno, and he is a U.S. congressman. Let's hear him hit Fauci here. This is a good one.
It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the f*** do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people. I will make it my mission to make certain that every single one of those Democrats who did that will see that clip over and over and over again. Because there is no defense of what you did. You may have had a 50-plus year legacy of public service, but it ends in total and complete disgrace.
Two, three, four, fifth.
You know, I heard he took 111. Is that what it was?
111. I was just about to say it. 111. That's a shit load of fifths. Somebody's got to go back and get a shitload of fifths.
And you know what the problem is too. So, there's some legal issues in there as well, because he got immunity, so he can't claim the fifth on anything that he doesn't have a viable legal threat on. You know what I mean? So, like, you really want, especially when you get immunity for something, you lose the ability to plead the fifth for certain things, because the fifth is there to prevent self-incrimination into something. But if you already have been immune from it, you can that strips that, right? So you can be compelled to talk. So, but at the same point, again, this is we're at the midway of the year, right, and the midterms, right. So this is the point where they spent 2 years not doing any accountability. So this is when they do the see we hear you, we're taking care of it all, right. So to me, that's what all this is. This is just
Yes.
making some noise, making it look like accountability is starting to happen. So the stupid people are like, yeah, we're gonna get accountability now, and then they just like keep voting the same people in, and they just expect different outcomes. It's like, no, that dude, we're 2026, dude. COVID was 2019. What accountability do we have? We've all know what's up. We've heard all the shit. We know that there's been plenty of investigations. There's been investigations on the investigations, that reveal shit. It's like enough of the investigations.
Templar, these are federal investigations. They take longer.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's so
Go fuck
freaking-
yourself with your take longer investigations. Like, the data's out there, the numbers are in, the fix is in. I mean,
Do you remember when Fauci was doing his little Judge Dredd thing, and he's like, if you question science, I am the law. I am the law. I am the science. Don't question me.
Yeah.
That was fucking Fauci. How dare you question him?
how quickly we went from trust the science to trust the silence. That's why I titled the episode that today.
6 feet, completely made up, right? Remember when they were
Right.
like, oh, double mask. Dude,
Remember-
just like was pulling shit out of thin air.
Remember, you could only walk one way down the aisles at the grocery store.
Yeah, they had it all fucking mapped out. They were, to me, the only thing that makes sense on COVID outside of, is they were testing compliance. They were testing how compliant we would be for a takeover. And I mean, they were doing it at rudimentary levels, engaging us in essentially like kindergarten type behavior. And I think they saw that they were overwhelmingly successful. I think about a third of the people is probably what they would have expected anyways, not to go. It's still, too much. But like next time, I don't think there's going to be any buffer, like they know, okay, yeah, people are going to pretty much just kind of roll with it, at least in the beginning till they figure it out. And by that,
I would like to think a few more people are more in tune with what's going on, anymore these days. Like, I feel like this maybe open some people's eyes a little bit, and they see, that some of these things just can't be trusted, that people have your best interest in mind, number one, when it comes to medical interests. And, like, they rushed this Jabarino, like, it's a different kind of one. It's not like the old ones from back in the day. Not that those are any better. I'm not advocating any usage of them, but these are different ones that fuck with your genes. Is there that graphene oxide in them or whatever that supposedly communicates with 5G or some shit I have no idea about.
right, assembling nanite technology,
And now they're ingesting that, like you said, into deers and into our, I think I've heard chickens being shot up with it as well. And
that's why they got rid of the ostriches, by the way, because the what do they call it? It's the antibiotics, right? The gene is once you expose that to it, by the next egg generation, it overcomes it, right?
Right.
It's and the ostrich is it's like fucking a super reaction. Well, that's horrible if you want to have a pandemic and you want to sell, a different kind of cure. You want something patented or whatever. You sure the fuck wouldn't want a single evolution to bypass your master plan. So you gotta take out the ostriches. You gotta take out
well,
eggs, and then
isn't like what they do is they use like monoclonal antibodies that you get from the sickness or whatever, and that cures itself. So once you have it, you can't ever get it again. But they don't preach that. You know, why aren't they giving more people monoclonal antibodies? And same thing, you know, I think that's probably the same thing that the ostrich does too, and that's how they fix it in the generation. Like, I mean, that's just fucking science. Like I said, the aquarium takes care of itself.
And CDC and these guys were pushing against that, right? Like they were shit canning monoclonal antibodies, right? And making ivermectin and all this shit a boogeyman. And that the only way to be safe was the vaccine. That there's no herd immunity. You're crazy. That's crazy talk. And then the other things that they'd hit you with was, you know, like, it wasn't peer reviewed, right? Trust it. And they just had these fucking mantras going, dude.
Well, that's another thing they read in the hearing the other day was back in the 80s, Dr. Fraudchi was praising hydroxychloroquine and saying how much it worked against the SARS virus.
Yeah, the man is an opportunist. They asked him about, like, the money. See, that's another thing, and there's corruption lies in. Like, these guys make money and royalties off of shit that gets established on their watch, right? So public tax dollars pay for the research and the funding of everything, right? But that doesn't go back to the public. Then it ends up, you know, people like Fauci get royalties on it, the universities get it, and everybody gets their chunk of flesh, except the American taxpayer who flipped the bill for it all. What they get is to pay the higher price for whatever the medication is or whatever comes down the line on that. So that shit's kind of rigged too. That's kind of messed up the way it goes. They've destroyed healthcare, bro.
And they also said in the hearing that he noted in his diary that it more than likely came from the lab, not the market. The lab was the catalyst, maybe, I think, that led to the market, I may have read. Maybe I made that part up, I'm not sure. But he at least said that it more than likely came from the lab. You know,
of course it did. You know, like...
Of course it did, right? Like, it doesn't even make sense, the fucking market.
Right. And the fact that it's right next door to a fucking lab. You know what I mean? Just... They basically said, turn off your brain. Here's what happened. Turn off your brain and believe it. That's it. That's all they said. Turn off your brain. If you question it, you're a bad person. But turn off your brain, people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just went to sleep, you know?
Yeah, and they had everybody on board with it, you know? And, you know, a lot of people are saying that, you know, this was all done just to help Trump lose the election. You know, like, I don't know. Maybe it was. I know that
Trump. You mean the Vax Daddy, Daddy Trump, right? The guy who pushed
Operation
through.
Warp Speed.
Yeah, right. So, and then, you know, when Trump, when it was coming out on Trump's watch, right? They're all like, no, we don't trust this vaccine. That's going to be coming from Trump, right? And everyone starts getting quiet, and then they kind of wait to release it right near at the end or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's just like, this is the greatest thing ever. You can't live without this. You need boosters. You know? Shit, have 2 shots.
Oh man, you know, the Vatican, you know, was a big pusher of things back then too, and so now this is coming out recently. Top Archbishop accuses the Vatican of helping Fauci legitimize crime against humanity. I'm going to try to read all this. It's a mouthful, so bear with me, people. In a searing public statement, former Vatican Archbishop Carlo Maria Viggiano has leveled one of the most explosive charges yet against the Holy See's conduct during the COVID era. Viggiano alleges that the Vatican did not merely stay silent, but that it actively collaborated with the architects of what he calls one of the greatest operations of social control and health fraud in contemporary history. At the center of his indictment is a high-profile Vatican conference held on May 6th, 2021, titled Exploring the Mind, Body, and Soul. While much of the world remained under severe restrictions, the Pontifical Council for Culture gave the opening platform not to the theologian or defender of natural law, but to Dr. Anthony Fauci. Seated alongside him, Chelsea Clinton, Deepak Chopra, and top executives from Pfizer and Moderna. Vijano calls the event a deliberate public demonstration of complicity. The what the fuck does that say? I lowly see did not limit itself to silence, he wrote. It offered its moral authority and its image to those in the name of health, imposed limitations on fundamental freedoms, discrimination, blackmail, and above all, experimental serums that have caused the deaths of millions. He argues church leaders cannot claim ignorance. Vijano says he publicly denounced the pandemic response as early as May 2020 and twice formally warned the Congregation of the Doctrine of Faith against uncritical acceptance of the official narrative. These warnings, he states, were ignored. He was ostracized. They cannot say they did not know. They cannot say they were not warned. The accusation goes further by elevating Fauci and the pharmaceutical interests during the global response. The Vatican helped cloak coercive policies and experimental interventions in the prestige of moral legitimacy, turning institutional silence into active collaboration. Vijano's final warning is stark. Those who remain silent in the face of such actions or worse, legitimize them, become co-responsible. May this not be forgotten. May it remain written.
I mean, good for him for calling it out. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's we need more people to speak up.
I know. Unfortunately, consider me jaded. I'm not buying into all of this. I'd love to see accountability, but we're like 7 years in. I'm not expecting it.
I came in late. Did we talk about Mother Teresa being Fauci's dad yet? I saw something about that actually. Is that like a real thing?
I don't know, but she looks like him. I mean, I could believe it. I'll be honest. These days, I'll fucking damn near believe anything.
Right. It's it's scary that they were able to pull this off so easily. I feel like they didn't meet much resistance. I mean, there were those of us that were like aware that there was some shady shit around it all, and we were demonized and criticized, and lots of people had their accounts taken from them. Lots of people lost friends over this stuff. Society, there's a big shift in society of some sort that things are different now after that.
Right, and don't forget, like they stopped keeping stores that like Walmarts and stuff that were open 24 hours. They stopped that, right? 24-hour stores are essentially not really a thing anymore in a lot of places.
There's a couple.
And then two, places like Walmart would not sell non-essential items. So there were people who wanted to do like gardening and shit, but Walmart wouldn't sell gardening supplies. As a matter of fact, they would rope off the gardening section and shit like that, so you couldn't go in there and spend money on that shit. Like some states just took that shit, to a whole new level of fucking, like tyranny. And then there were some places. I'm lucky. I live on the Illinois-Wisconsin border, right? So like there were people around here who could still remember what freedom tastes like, right? Like I know this bar that stayed open, and they fought the health department legally. The owner, out of his own pocket, so his staff could remain and have a job, and people had a place to come to, was like, fuck you. I'll fight you guys in court. And he did. And the radio and people got behind him, right? But right across the border to in Kenosha and the rest of Wisconsin, they were living like there was no fucking pandemic. You didn't have to have a mask on or anything like that, right? Shit like that. Like you could go and eat somewhere without having a mask or, 6 feet. So that was kind of nice. But you'd be in Illinois, and everywhere you go, they wanted you to fucking put on a mask to walk into the gas station. Put on a mask to, like, go sit down at your table. But then you could take it off. But then when you get up to go to the bathroom or whatever, you got to put it back on again. So you're only safe when you're sitting down. It was all nonsensical. It was about conforming, and it was just about behavior modification and uh, getting you to comply, right? Because the more you do something, even if you don't like it, now you're more likely to do it again in the future. It just breaks that initial resistance, dude. Like, they got us good, dude. And it's not just one party, it's them.
Well, I think a lot of people realized about private businesses and their rules too with this whole shit is that, a private company can say, hey, if you're not going to abide by this rule, you can't come into our store. We're not going to serve you. And it's completely legal. No shoes, no shirt, no service, It's kind of like that. If you didn't wear the mask, you can't come in. It's perfectly legal for, a place to do that. Now, a government agency can't necessarily do that,
Right.
And that's what people
But
have a problem with. It's funny, I seen a post today, and there's like something happening at a Vegas hotel, and some of the elevators are broken, and there's like this long line, and it's like really hot, and like there's some complaints and shit. And this person that posted this was saying that they should do a public records request for maintenance info, and I just started laughing. I'm like, good fucking luck with that. It's a private company. It's not a public fucking request.
right. Yeah,
What?
the only way you're getting that is through a subpoena,
Yeah, right. You'd have to prove some kind of malice or whatever the right word is,
Yeah, you'd have to have a case and show you got standing and fucking. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They got us with COVID, and I really don't. I don't have enough faith in the population that they learned their lesson. I don't,
No.
because what I also think is there were a lot of people who were on the COVID team, just like there were a bunch of people who were on like the liberal team before Trump got super popular, right? And then you see the same behavior both ways. It's like, oh, wait a minute, like we were wrong, or the majority. Never mind, guys. Like we're just like you now. Forget all the crazy shit we did and what we were saying and the gatekeeping. We're just like you. We agree with you. And they should have been fucking ostracized, right? It should have been like, wait a minute. No, you were the motherfuckers saying that people who didn't take the clot shot were going to be killing grandma, and that we didn't deserve to work, and that our children should be taken away from us. And you know what I mean? That we should be thrown in damn near internment camps, like. And I feel like a lot of those people just got off way too easy.
Didn't Hillary Clinton say something like that? We all needed to be put into re-education camps?
She may have. I mean, a lot of people were saying buck wild shit, right? Alan Dershowitz was saying that the federal government had a constitutional right to take you and forcibly inject you, right? Jeffrey Epstein,
Alan
lawyer,
Dershowitz said that?
Yeah, which is creepy because he's the constitutional scholar, right? Like, dude. So yeah, and he was a Democrat, right? And fucking so Democrat, but yeah, it was coming from all angles. Families who stopped talking to me over this and still have not apologized. I don't think they ever will. Yeah, dude, that's another thing. This added into. They used this to also add into like that political wedge, right? It was kind of like an issue where it almost fell on where you believed, although there were outliers and whatnot. But it almost became a thing of like, well, if you're on that team, you want to kill everybody and you just disregard things and you're all about yourself and racism and all the things that they threw. You're all the things.
Yeah. Dude, so I got something something else here I wanted to get your opinion on. What do you make of this little nugget from last week with your boy BB? Look at the guy behind him.
Yep.
Oh man, it's just everywhere.
Dude, yeah. Dude. You know, like you've been to an amusement park, you got on a fast roller coaster,
I've
right?
been to Six Flags Great America.
So they got us all sat down in the roller coaster, and they just clipped on our chest restraints, right? And they've just started the roller coaster. So we're in for the ride. That's where we're at. We're in for the ride. I don't know the loops. I don't know what we're about to go through, but I know that we're strapped in and we're on the beginning of the ride. You know what I mean? And they know that too. And I think most of us can like smell that. So at this point, who knows? But I mean, they're not trying to be subtle. They don't even care anymore. You know what I mean? There's no like we want the people behind us. They don't even give a fuck about like if they have our support. They're just like basically you're either gonna agree with us or we're gonna bludgeon you over the head with the issue until you concede. That's it.
Oh man, one of the things that I hate about this podcast is I get bummed out. I get bummed out like when we talk about shit because you're like, but at the same time I get motivated to spread the word and hopefully somebody out there will hear it and something will click with them and help them come to some truths and connect some dots themselves.
You just gotta, I don't know, try to make it through the best you can, like, and trust your gut, like that's gonna be the thing. I think whatever is coming around the corner, I don't know if we're gonna recognize it for what it is immediately, and that's gonna be the difference between those who either make it through or, they're gonna be the people who recognize in the moment what's actually occurring, and things for what they are, So it's fucked up to not be able to like to know that 100% your government is just throwing you over fucking board, and they could be working against you at any given time. Like that's not a comforting thought. Nobody wants to think that way about their government.
Yeah, dude, I got another BB one here, and look at him. This is at Lindsey Graham's funeral, and it looks like BB gives specific orders to Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth.
I'm actually glad you have this.
Okay.
You got this? You're gonna play this? Awesome. Yeah, fuck them. I'm done. You guys are gonna get it done. Fuck it. You two put this together. Figure it the fuck out. Got it? Look, Rubio's so fucked up, he's turning away from the conversation, but he doesn't know what to do with himself. He doesn't even know how to leave, so he just fucking turns around 360, and now he's right back in it. You know what I mean? That's how... Have you ever done that in a conversation that you're engaged in? Just fucking like twirl around for a second?
Yeah, but it's not a good moment when it happens either. It's usually just was said that,
Right.
Oh man, let's watch
he's so
it again.
fucked up. He needed a moment to just kind of disconnect and kind of reestablish himself. But these are supposed to be our leaders, right? These are supposed to be our leaders. These are supposed to be representing our interest, right? The last thing they should be doing is taking fucking advice from any foreign leader. Doesn't matter who it is, right? But I mean, these guys are like, dude, if BB said, suck my dick right now, these guys are dropping to their knees and getting a mouthful of dick. 100%.
Oh, man. And that doesn't sound appetizing. Blue says, I've seen that Mason symbol before, don't remember what it means. I think the NPCs are in new level of Cogdis. They actually know they have it. I don't even know what you call that.
I
yes,
think
I've
at that
done that
point,
when
isn't
he's
it
about-
Stockholm Syndrome? Well, no,
Okay.
because I guess if you know it, I don't know if that makes it Stockholm. But it would definitely be like a version of it. But yeah, I don't know. But I agree with Blue.
Dude, those are two of the most powerful people in government right there, and he just basically fucking made them his bitch right there.
They look like small children. Like if you've ever scolded small children, and you kind of see that like they don't know what to do with themselves for a minute, like they're like kind of oh shit, like the fact that they had fucking Rubio walk 360, right, dude? That's the defense secretary, Mr. Big, dude. You got
You think
that
maybe he was
much
like,
of a
why don't you give me a fucking spinsy?
dude. No, I just think he needed to like compose himself. He probably didn't know what the fuck to think, to say, whatever. Like what was said to him was like probably so like know your fucking place that he was just like, shit. I need to recompute for a second. You just crashed my shit.
Yeah. So dang, that's that Lindsey Graham's thing, dude. Today's August 3rd. They survived the Mitch McConnell saga in Kentucky, huh?
Yep. They made it through, and you know what sucks? This is another reason why fucking online's a joke, because we had 3 good plus weeks to fucking be up on this shit that people kind of realized that he had fallen out, and nothing. Where were all the big accounts that are like, oh, we don't want the voting to go this way? Where were those people for Lindsey? Where were those, or not Lindsey, for Mitch, right? Why were they not saying more? Because they weren't being pushed to, and there weren't no fucking clicks to it, and they really don't fucking care. Because they just follow whatever story X throws down the pipeline. And then that's the thing that's going to get the clicks. And everybody wants the clicks. So they attach themselves to some form of that story, to get the clicks too. And they don't really care where they drive the story to,
I'll tell you what's fucking hot right now is that Sophie Cunningham stuff with the WNBA and her calling out trans athletes and like the response from media and WNBA coaches and everybody around it is just crazy. It's like so scripted. You have ESPN, which is essentially Disney, coming out and making statements against Sophie Cunningham for this and that. And it's just like, it's the absurdity of it all to me that I just don't quite understand. The whole reason that the WNBA was formed was so women could have a place for them, not to play in men's basketball.
Because
Otherwise,
that's what we're doing.
otherwise, if they're good enough, they just join the fucking NBA.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So the whole reason the WNBA exists is a place for women to play basketball, not biological men.
Right.
I don't know what the big debate is about, and you have Sophie Cunningham's own head coach coming out and saying, well, I'm not educated enough to say whether or not they should be, but I leave it up to the WNBA and their protocols and their decisions to make the right decision. Like, shut the fuck up. What?
And that's such a slimy cop out too,
Right?
That all that is like bowing, but trying to like do it in a like, I'm sorry, don't attack me. I'm in with you. I'm okay with it. I'll shut the fuck up. That's what that is. That's that knee bending bullshit.
Ugh.
And my understanding, I don't follow the WNBA really at all. Every now and
Liar.
then. So I saw that like she made a comment or something basically just saying that men shouldn't play, and that's where like all of this is like strictly because she voiced her opinion. So that requires
there's
a
another
response
issue
from everybody.
Like it was at a game in Seattle. There was 2 fans sitting courtside that made a sign in support of Sophie Cunningham, and the owner of the team like yelled and berated these 2 teenage girls over it. And then the WNBA suspended the owner of the team for 5 games. Like they're not allowed to attend the games. The owner of the team, because of the response to Sophie. And I mean, it's pretty crazy,
Dude, the WNBA has too much drama first and foremost, right? And the fact that like it's a supplemented league. It doesn't stand on its own 2 feet, and and the whole thing just comes with a fucking headache, right? So the NBA is supplementing the WNBA, right? Which is then bringing all these fucking headaches with it and all this nonsense. And then on top of that, they're complaining that they're not making the kind of money that NBA players are making, even though they can't even hold them fucking selves up financially. It just it does. It's so. I went off the ride. You know.
Well, it's entertainment. It's no different than the WWE. You know, it's just like that Alex Jones thing you sent. Is it WWE? It's just all scripted, and it's just to grab your attention and to garnish, your loosh.
Yep. And to focus yourself, because it doesn't matter what it is, what country, what time period. The main stipulation, the way it always works, is get a set of people. Doesn't matter what it is. Find the difference, right? And then pit the differences at each other. That's it. And then it's rinse and repeat. So whether it's internally and there's like ideological things, so now you got like a left and a right. Well, you got to create the left and the right, right? And these are the values you hold, and these are the values you hold. And then you indoctrinate that into those people. And then you say, oh, the people who hold the other values, blah, and it just creates conflict. And then from there, you just hit the subsections, and like, it's just never going to fucking end. Because people bite for it all the time. So it does make.
Dude, it's funny. Blue saying she's white. Let's just say it. There's people out there in media that are coming after Sophie Cunningham, accusing her of being racist because of this comment about biological men playing in women's sports.
Isn't that
Now-
funny?
now-
Even
now-
though
now
that
she's
doesn't
racist.
relate. Right.
Right.
She's all the things if she doesn't believe, the fucking the woke. Which is when is that? See, that's when because the majority of people I don't think back that, right? I don't think so, but like when is that going to end? And the problem is it's not going to. Like they're going to continue pushing it on. Even Halo just came out, right? And they're all like, "Whoa, well, there's Master Chief, and now we got a fucking girl boss it." Like it's just at every angle they have to stuff it down your throat.
Well-
I can't watch Netflix or whatever because all these movies automatically got to have the girl boss fucking superhero or fucking star. And I don't mind that when it works, but when you shoehole it to just be like girl good no matter what, men bad.
Well, why do we need
outta here.
Supergirl when we got Wonder Woman? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we have female. True, there was Batgirl or whatever too. Like there's. I don't know.
Well,
maybe I'm just
yeah.
getting fucking old, and maybe I'm just getting fucking jaded and based after talking conspiracy for 200 fucking episodes, Templar.
I think about that often myself. I'm like, maybe I am just the old crotchety old man that just in my day, but
Oh, look who fucking shows up.
What's up, Cram?
Look who
Glad you
shows
could
up
make it.
5 minutes at the fucking end. What's up, Cram? Dude, Templar, what are you gonna do when your fucking robot breaks?
Right?
What?
You know what happened there? They're covering them with blankets. You can't
now-
see it, so it didn't happen.
So, do you think that that's staged? Because they had that blanket ready to go there, and I mean, why the fuck are they covering the robot? That's symbolic of some sort. I feel
Because they don't want you to have the pictures. It's a bad sight when they're on here trying to pimp that shit to you, and it crashes out and breaks. But who fucking knows at this point, dude?
How?
These are gonna be our overlords at some point, though.
Fine, I'll quit my job. Good. It's about time. We need people to make clips for us here at the phone booth. I could really use
Yes.
some help making clips. So quit your job. Devote more of your free time to the phone booth.
Yeah, what he said.
Blue Montauk says Catwoman. That's right. There's Catwoman. So yeah, I mean, we got women superheroes. We got Kill Bill out there. So what are we doing?
Yeah, no. Like dude, there's all kinds of cool movies, right? Like even like original Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Like the female Nancy was a female star. All that shit worked out fine. Nobody's like, oh, you made her a girl boss. They fit it right. You know what I mean? They made a proper story. Terminator 2, Sarah Connor is total fucking badass, right? But they didn't artificially just be like, poof, she can do all the things and everything a man can do, she can do that, but she can do it better, right? And it's just instant. You gotta like her. She never earns your respect. You just gotta give it. You know, it's just.
So let's look at your president. Let's end on a good note with your president.
All right. Oh, yeah.
So did you see the first one he missed? His mouth.
Dude, that's probably fucking CIA issued meth. And he's like, oh shit, I'm dozing off. Let me
Yeah, you see, he dropped it. He drops it right there. But, and watch on the tie, you see it fall. Boom, there it is, that white line there. Oh man, yeah, no, those have got to be Adderall laced Tic Tacs or something, huh?
At this point, something, right?
I'll tell you what, man, I wouldn't mind having one or two of them, man. Bro, you know what'd be awesome is to have one of those like in Limitless, like whatever that shit he was taking in Limitless. Oh man, I'm gonna watch that movie. That was a good movie.
It's a great movie, dude. I've seen it so many times. I probably due to see it again.
All right, dude. We got to wrap this bad boy up, dude. I got to feed dogs.
You mean we made it through?
We made it through with our 3 little topics. That's what we'll call the episode next week. 3 little topics.
3 little topics.
Little topics over here. Little topics over there. Is that a McDonald's Mento? I don't know. Haha, little oopsie. Imagine how much Melania charged him. Ooh.
Right? Ugh, gross.
You know what? I'm sure she's very happy with her bank account right now.
Oh, I'm sure, dude.
I'm sure her bank account has more zeros than I'll ever see in mine. And that's all right. Unless more of you head on over to phoneboothpodcast.substack.com and subscribe and pay me and the boys all your monies, and you can get all kinds of bonus content. And there's
stuff.
Dude, there's plenty of free content on there too. I mean, you got 4 or 5 different podcasts, and
you and Jonah just did a episode that was actually pretty entertaining, and I love the chirp in the beginning.
Oh yes, was Hitler Blick or was Hitler Swarthy, as some of the channels don't like you saying, was he black? But like I said, we trimmed the fat off of the website. It looks so much better. It's all killer. No filler. The merch store, stuff's getting added every day. Go get your government is flocking you. And if you look at it from far away, it looks like it says something a little bit different. Yeah. Boom. Look at that right there.
Dude, I really do love that sticker. And it's
make
the right kind of cheeky, bro.
We should make coasters of that too. That would be dope. Coasters of that.
Yes.
We've got the Here's the Thing podcast shirts. I believe we've sold one of those. And Jesus loves you. No, not you. The one behind you. I love it. But head on over there. And then also, while you're surfing the information superhighway, head on over to Can-Am Bullion and get you some precious metal, because man, who knows what's going to happen with the dollar. So it just seems a little bit safer. So invest you in some of that. And what else you got, Templar?
Nothing. I appreciate and love you guys. Thank you, Blue. Thank you, Cram. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Peace. Thank you, Mama. You know, like all y'all, appreciate you guys coming through and commenting and hanging out with us.
It's been a blast, everybody. And thank you all for tuning in and reposting and sharing and liking and commenting and all that you do. And we'll see you next Monday. Good night, everybody.
Peace.